Good afternoon, everyone, again. Ще раз добрий вечір, добрий день всім. I will be talking in English for those who are joining us right now, but feel free to ask your questions in the chat або українською, або англійською, or in English, или на русском, если вам так удобнее. So I will be happy to answer those questions you put into the chat or into the Q&A, format or mode. Now, it all dates back to the experience that was important both for Ukraine and both for this part of the world we live in and for the Western Europe, meaning the Second World War. Following this disaster, wise men who were involved in winning the conflict gathered to think what's next, what's going to follow this massive destruction, this massive loss of population, and they came back to the idea of European integration. This was the Hague Congress in 1949, and the College of Europe Natolin draws upon this experience of the College of Europe, which was founded back then. The College of Europe in Natolin was established in 1992, more than 30 years ago. And it looks at Europe from two different perspectives. From the perspective of its long history and past and how it impacts today's world, and the future, new challenges, new opportunities, new horizons. So what's ahead of us in various domains, the domain of cybersecurity, of green transition, of security, etc., etc. So the location of the College of Europe in Natolin is Warsaw, Poland, so the capital of Poland. And it's a very good location for the past 30 years, which allowed us to gain experience in the topic of both European affairs, the process of European integration, and the relations between the EU and its neighboring countries and neighboring states. It is particularly important, I believe, for Ukrainians and other countries of the Eastern Partnership, precisely because, unfortunately, in the circumstances of the war in Ukraine, but the topic of enlargement, of enlarging the EU is back on the table, with Ukraine being granted the candidate status for EU accession. So you may imagine that it's going to bring about a huge demand for specialists in the topics of European affairs. Ukraine will need specialists who know how the EU works, who know how the accession negotiations look like, who know how to talk to the EU, how to trade with EU, how to adjust the legal system and other elements to the EU standards. This is precisely the expertise we've accumulated over the past 30 years at the College of Europe here in Natolin, also because of our location, which is very close, not only geographically, but also in terms of links and connections with the European neighborhood. Now, I very often receive a question, so what exactly is that you're teaching at this postgraduate course? My answer to that one is, well, what you want us to teach you. The offer we have for you is interdisciplinary, and each and every student makes of Natolin, makes of the College of Europe in Natolin what he or she wants. So there's a huge menu, and you pick the elements from our curriculum that are of interest to you. Be it you might be interested in the topics of memory and history, in the topics of cybersecurity or digital transition, in the topics of green transition and the climate change. So every single student combines the elements of this holistic offer we have. You can imagine that in the last several years, we have roughly 130 students on campus every year. Not even 2 of those 120, 130 students in the past years had exactly the same set of courses, the same curriculum at the university, at our college. So it gives you the idea to what extent our offer is flexible, individualized, adjusted to each and every one of you. The interdisciplinary approach also implies that we look at topical issues, climate change, migration, security, from the perspective of very different disciplines, such as law, such as international relations, European studies, history, economics, etc., simply to give you a wider perspective. You can still be a lawyer, you can still be an economist, but with this course we're offering, you will be able to look at those problems and see beyond those preconceptions and disciplinary boundaries, and thus become more versatile in terms of understanding the problem from very, very different perspectives. The offer, as you see, is divided into 3 overarching yet distinct categories: knowledge, so academic knowledge, academic programs, study trips, core academic courses, research activities to which the students are invited, skills, so languages, career skills, professional development, so soft skills, and campus experience. And make no mistake, all of those elements are the elements of education. You're learning throughout all those elements. Living with people from all over the world and being taught by people from all over the world gives you the campus experience. You're not only learning from the professors, but you're learning from each other. You come from very different disciplines as well. You learn from professionals within the skills component. And of course, first and foremost, you learn from the professors of top universities in Europe and beyond. So this is an invitation, and this offer is to invite you to explore, choose, and navigate your path through this composition of various topics and of various courses. The degree we offer is an Advanced Master of Arts in European Interdisciplinary Studies. Exactly, what is it? It is what you make of it. So it's a personalized, intercultural, intense learning experience, giving you knowledge and expertise in internal and external dimensions of the European Union, particularly important in the time when Ukraine is preparing to join the European Union. In the second semester, you get to specialize further in one of the 4 customizable interdisciplinary majors: EU Public Affairs and Policies, so how the EU works internally; the EU and the world, so EU's relations with other global actors; the EU and its complex neighborhoods. Again, this is something that we are very good at, Natolin, knowing how the EU forms its relations with its neighbors; and the European history and civilization, so how the past has a direct impact on what is happening today. I believe that in the context of war in Ukraine, you can see that what happened in the past and a long-standing ideological and let's say political position of Russia has an impact on what is happening today in Ukraine. So that is why we also try to look at this longer perspective in the European affairs. It's a very intense program, 10 months on campus, and it's annually updated. So when someone starts teaching at Natolin, it doesn't mean that he or she will teach you until he or she retires or dies. But complex neighborhoods, Dasha, the question, complex meaning that the situation very often is not easy. I mean, you see Belarus, you see Ukraine with the war. Complex in a sense that there are various problems They have been accumulating over the years, and this is the way to see that, to acknowledge the fact that the neighborhoods are, let's say, diverse, with different issues, different problems, different specificities. That's why it's complex, because the southern neighborhood of the EU is in many aspects very different from the eastern neighborhood of the EU. So that's why the word complex here. I would, I mean, I'm not sure if it answers your question, Dasha, but if you need a follow-up, please let me know. So the program is yearly updated. We check what is actually happening in the world, and we adjust what we're teaching to what is actually happening out there. So a different set of professors is teaching every year, not completely different, of course, but it is adjusted to a large extent to what the students need to be able to face the challenges of today. The course or the program is taught in English and in French, predominantly in English, but you will need at least basic communicative level of French, because there is one compulsory course taught in French for everyone. However, there is a possibility of conditional admission if you decide to start learning French already now. If you ask me, what do I need the French for? My answer is, well, I don't think knowing another foreign language can hurt you, which is also an international language up till today. So the first semester is about giving fundamentals to everyone. You may come from very different backgrounds. Please let me know what is your field of study. If you can type it in the chat, tell me what the field of study is, and I will continue talking. So we bring in together at the College of Europe in Natolin people from very different backgrounds. Law, European studies, international relations, but also history, but also philosophy. This year we have students with background in IT. We used to have students who had a background in biotechnological engineering. The bottom line here is that they're interested in European affairs and want to combine what they learned thus far with this European dimension. I can give you, okay, philology, business management, okay, perfect fit for us, because we actually accept people from very different sectors. And we share, and they share, the interest in European affairs. Yes, the EU affairs, but also European affairs in a broader sense, like history, for example. I myself selected the major in the second semester in European history and civilization, and I was writing a thesis also about Ukraine. Law, history, philology, pedagogy, yes, it's all fine. It's all applicable as long as you want to combine this background with the knowledge of the European affairs of the EU itself, or European affairs beyond the EU. So it's a very interesting student body every year with people from very different backgrounds. So you're learning from the professors, but at the same time you're learning from your colleagues who have very different backgrounds as well. It gives a lot of interesting perspectives when you're sitting over dinner and discussing. So the first semester is to give those fundamentals to everyone from very different background. We will not, of course, make a lawyer out of an economist in 3 months, but the idea in the first semester is to give at least basic understanding of the functioning of the European Union in those main domains: EU law, European economic integration, EU institutions and decision-making. This idea, of course, is not about making you learn again what you learned before. If you have background in economics, you can take the so-called entry test. If you fail, no problem. If you pass the test, you will be able to exchange the course on economics for another course from the interdisciplinary track. So this is the fundamentals, and these fundamentals in the first and the second semester are taught by the academics and practitioners, more than 120 of them from the best universities and institutions worldwide, from over 25 countries. So the College of Europe is based in Warsaw, but it's a profoundly international institution, both in terms of the students and the professors who come from over 25 countries. Let me now introduce these professors to you.
I would certainly recommend Natolin as an institution, and I would certainly recommend the master's courses and the wonderful courses which they're able to follow here.
The course that I teach is on totalitarianism in the 20th century.
My course are going to be those students who would be interested in issues relating to Central Eastern Europe.
Essentially what we're doing is thinking about the concepts of sovereignty and international order.
It's very much based on theory and practice, but it's also quite interactive with the electives that they are offered.
It's also multilingual, albeit the course I teach is taught in English, but it does benefit from having students from all sorts of cultural backgrounds who come at these issues in a different way.
One of the main comparative advantages of Natolin is the place and the people.
I believe, well, we all need to broaden your perspective, and this is what is done here.
I think that that's a really nice facet of the college and something that is quite unique in the world.
So back to the presentation. These were our professors who teach both in the first and the second semester. As said, more than 120 of them, 25 countries. And in the second semester, you, as said, get to further specialize in one of those majors. So the functioning of the EU, EU public affairs and policies, the EU and its complex neighborhoods, the EU and the world. So the EU as an actor in international relations, global relations, let's say, Europe in interaction with Asia, Africa, the Americas, and other regions, and European history and civilizations. And each of those majors is interdisciplinary in itself, and it's customizable. So you choose your courses within each major. Now, show me another university that within one program, one semester, offers you more than 80 topics of courses to choose from. Now, this is what I call an enormous offer. And then we are here to help you navigate through this offer and select the elements that you find the most interesting. I like the metaphor of a restaurant. You come to a restaurant, you get your menu, and with the help of the waiters, us, you get to choose the meals that are the most tasty, the most nutritious to you, and compose your own menu for this dinner or lunch. So this is more or less how the College of Europe and the European Interdisciplinary Studies program at the College of Europe in Natolin work. One of the best elements of the offer are also the study trips. In the first semester, we discovered the borderlands, the topic of borderlands. We traveled to the borderlands of Poland with Lithuania, with Czechia and Germany. For a long time, our students were traveling to Ukraine to explore the situation in Ukraine for the past more than 10 years. Unfortunately, for obvious reasons, right now we cannot travel. The last time, though, our students visited Ukraine was in 2021 in the autumn, so just a few months before the outbreak of Russia's aggression against Ukraine. And these study trips are 1 week long each, one per semester. In the first semester, it's about borderlands. In the second semester, these are regional visits. So you also select a destination related to a specific topic. And these trips, yes, they are also about fun, but they are first and foremost regular academic courses on the ground. More than 10 countries, 6 thematic destinations in the first and in the second semester together, so 3 per semester. And they allow you to get this first hands-on experience, full immersion in the topical issues in the places you're visiting. So you see the pictures here, European External Action Service for the functioning of the European institutions. So our students go to Brussels and Luxembourg, or the visit to the European institutions in general. In the second picture, you see the Western Balkans, so the topics of enlargement, EU's enlargement to that region as well. And the two pictures below, Armenia and the Baltic states, treat a lot about the topics of security in very different dimensions: energy security, hard security, so military security, cyber security, etc., etc. So I could talk a lot about those destinations. I would just say that they change from one year to another. So similar to the professors and the courses we are teaching, every year the destinations are revised and reviewed to see where our students can get the best experience of what, the best insight into what is happening in a given country or countries. They get to meet three categories of people: high-level officials, so presidents, heads of state, meet with our students. Last year, when I was traveling with students to the Western Balkans, we met the president, the former president, the current president, and the prime minister of Montenegro, for example. When I was traveling to Ukraine as a student, because I am an alumnus of the college, so I'm talking about something I know, because I have been through that myself. We in Ukraine managed to meet the then deputy prime minister for European integration, Ivan Naklin-Pushtin-Sadze, the head of the president of the Committee for Foreign Affairs of Verkhovna Rada, Boris Tarasyuk. In the second semester, I went to Georgia and Armenia. And in Armenia, for example, I cannot promise that for every study trip, but when I was there in Armenia in 2018, we actually witnessed the demonstrations in the streets that led to the overthrow of government of Armenia. So we met the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who was not the Minister of Foreign Affairs shortly later. So you can imagine that it's a very hands-on experience. The leaders, you meet the representatives of the academia as well, so professors teaching at those countries. You meet the representatives of the third sector, so NGOs, who very often put a grain of salt into what the politicians are saying, and give you a very well-rounded picture of what is happening actually in the country. And also the representatives of media, both local media and those foreign correspondents working in the country, for example. So gives you a very diverse perspective on what is happening in the destination you choose. But for now, let me hand over to our students, who will tell you a bit more about the study trips.
I chose the wider Baltic study trip because I think it's very interesting in this particular time.
For me, it's the first opportunity to come to Brussels, come to the NATO.
I really wanted to discover what makes Balkans so special.
This study trip has been fantastically interesting in academic terms. I mean, we have learned a lot about the contemporary, memorial, historical and political issues at stake in the region.
This trip will provide us with the context of the security situation in the Baltic states.
To meet high-level officials, decision makers, visit different EU institutions.
This trip is really special, and I'm very happy that I chose this trip.
It was just a fantastic moment that surely will stay with me for very long.
Once in a lifetime experience.
So this was just a short introduction to what the study trips are all about. But not only during the trips, you get to meet high-level officials, heads of state, heads of international organizations, leaders, world leaders. They also come to you, to the College of Europe in Natolin. Each time they are in Warsaw, in Poland, you get the chance to meet them. 2 weeks ago, we had the President of the European Parliament, Roberta Metsola, speaking to our students and answering their questions. You can recognize people featured in the photos. Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya, the leader of Democratic Belarus, who was here at the College of Europe in Natolin in 2020, just a few weeks after she had to leave Belarus, after Alexander Lukashenko stole the elections from her. She was speaking to our students immediately after that. And the other person is Mr. Josep Borrell, the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, who was here also speaking to our students. Ms. Celia Espinosa, who is the Secretary General of the United Nations Framework Conference on Climate Change. So top-level United Nations official discussing the topics of climate change. And a short quiz: do you recognize the last person on the right? While you have a minute to answer in the chat, I will say that the blue and yellow synergy colors at the background are not accidental. No, the Borrell is the one second on the left, yes, but the person on the extreme right here with the 3R behind him is the former president of a European country. Which one? This is a person who was participating in negotiation of the Minsk agreements. So when Russia started, François Hollande, thank you very much, Ruslan, bravo. François Hollande was here at the College of Europe in Natolin when I was a student, together with the Ukrainian leaders, discussing the consequences of Euromaidan, the hybrid war of Russia against Ukraine that started in 2014. And he was discussing the background of the Minsk agreements he was helping to broker. So you get this kind of insights when studying here at the College of Europe. Also from the two academic chairs, the European Civilization Chair, investigating the topics of European history and civilization, but also the European, as said, Neighborhood Policy Chair. So this is the only academic chair in the world that is dealing specifically with the topics of EU's relations with the neighbors, so the European Neighborhood Policy. Finally, we have the so-called Natolin nests, and these nests are something more than nauczny krążok. This is naukowy krążok, wybaczcie. This is something more. This is similar to naukowy krążok, but it gives you access to elements of the academic program, extracurricular visits and meetings, and you're also empowered and encouraged to organize something on your own. So you are empowered and encouraged to organize an international conference, invite the speakers, write papers, and the College of Europe is very often publishing those papers. So we had a very nice conference, I think 2 years ago, about energy, and an excellent publication by the speakers, but also by our students who were intervening within that conference. They had their papers published in that publication. So these topics are also reviewed annually to address the current challenges, and the topical issues are energy and climate, migration, media and disinformation, digital transformation, religion and politics, and geostrategy this year. Every nest has a mentor who is a professional, a member of a think tank, who is kind of working on the nest program, inviting speakers, organizing events to offer the students interested in those topics some elements that are beyond the classroom, also with potential employers involved who can get to know you when you visit the institutions. On top of that, so that was the hard element of knowledge. If you remember the first slide, this was knowledge. Now we are moving on to the softer skills. So languages, you don't have to, you can choose 2 languages out of 8: Arabic, English, French, German, Italian, Polish for foreigners, Russian, and Spanish. I mentioned that you have to speak good English to study at the College of Europe, but you also have to speak communicative French. Now, if you're struggling with French, you can start learning on your own and be admitted conditionally. If you're admitted conditionally with the condition to improve your French, then there is a support from our language services provided to you, including 3 weeks of intensive language courses in French or in English if you need English, because you may also speak very good French. Yes, Julia, you need to know French for admission, because there is one compulsory course taught in French for every promotion. However, I mean, this is a communicative level of French, so you have to understand the class, the professor as he teaches, and he also knows that people are coming from different backgrounds, so he adjusts the pace of speaking and the words he's using to what he's to the auditorium. If you have any certificates confirming your language level, that's good, but it's not absolutely necessary. You can provide, for example, an attestation from your university teacher saying that Julia Bush is a user of English at B2 or C1 level. Because if you are pre-selected for the interview stage, one way or another, we will know what's your level of English and French, because you will be asked questions in English and a question or two in French to test the level of French. So certificates will help us assess your application, but at the end of the day, the final verification of your language skills is the interview. On top of that, I said the courses that you can take, language courses that you can take optionally, but they're really very good. Я таким чином, до речі, вивчив українську і російську за рік навчання в коледжі. So you can learn at a very high level if you want to follow those courses. And even if you don't follow each of the courses, you can pass an exam if you already have some knowledge of a given language. So you don't need to follow a course, but you need a certificate. There are language certification exams organized every semester. And the certificate you will receive from us is recognized by the international institutions and business employers. So, so it's an additional added value. Careers and professional development. You have one-on-one career tutorials with a professional career coach and personalized career guidance, going through your CV, going through your motivation letter, and advice from the specialist. Always one-on-one, so every single student gets to meet this advisor. Professional development workshops on soft skills, debating skills, public speaking skills, and preparation for the EPSO competition, which is the entry competition for the EU officials. The preparation for the Blue Book traineeship in the Commission, for example, which is now open to Ukrainian students as well, and Ukrainian candidates. And networking events, because over those years, we have more than 3,000 people across the EU institutions, international organizations who have studied at the College of Europe in Natolin. The current Secretary General of the Council of Europe is an alumna of the College of Europe in Natolin. The current mayor of Warsaw is the alumnus of Natolin. So you have those people everywhere, and every 5 years following their graduation, they come back to the campus. They are invited to come back. They meet among themselves, they discuss, talk about the good old days, but also every time they come, there's also a meeting with the current promotion of students, so that you can speak in a very informal and friendly atmosphere with those who already are where you want to be. So it's a very, very strong element, the relations with the alumni and the network. Student life. It's a diverse and multicultural community of more than 120 students every year, coming from more than 30 countries. This year, in the current promotion, we actually have more than 35 nationalities. The entire European Union, the United Kingdom, the Southern Mediterranean, the Eastern Partnership, meaning Ukraine, Belarus, Moldova, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan. A very, very diverse student community. The first time in history we have this year, an Afghani student, an Iranian student. Yeah, Chile, Mauritius. We had people from very different places all over the world. On top of the educational offer, you have the rich offer of cultural and student-led events, such as Natolin Cultural Days, and you're staying on a campus. I don't know who of you stayed in Hurtożytok at the university. I did, and it doesn't compare to what you have here. You have your single room, which is cleaned once a week by the cleaning service. You have a restaurant on campus, so the canteen, which is serving 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Sports facilities, so a football pitch. You have a library on campus with 50,000 books in hard copy, probably the biggest library related to or focused on European affairs in this part of Europe, plus 500,000 online resources accessible via subscriptions from campus. Again, it's a small universe, a very intense program. Everything is taken care of for you, and you just have to study. This was the most comfortable, and I'm saying this as an alumnus. I've never had such comfortable conditions to study in my entire life. And if for some reason, personal reasons, you're struggling, you have some family problems, there is a professional psychologist on campus, and you can have a counseling session in terms of your well-being and being taken care of by that person. Before I move on, I'll allow our students from the current promotion to introduce themselves to you.
Before joining the College of Europe, I was studying law at La Sorbonne.
I studied computer science before.
My background is initially in economy.
I studied at the University of Groningen, European Languages and Culture.
I did an undergrad in business administration. The diversity of profiles of my fellow students is immense.
I learned about the College of Europe as well as the EIS program when I was interning in the Greek Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
I was lucky to receive a scholarship from the Dutch Foreign Ministry.
I came here with a journalistic scholarship.
When I saw the call and the scholarship, I was like, why not? Give it a shot.
It's a very important thing not to be afraid to apply here, because I heard it from other people that maybe it's just too much for me and maybe I cannot do it. Yes, I can do it, and I just had a really good feeling about this, so I can really recommend to everyone to believe in yourself.
And I can only follow the recommendation of Gabor and tell you something more about the conditions of admission in a few minutes. But before that, I will just say a few words more about the beautiful place we're based in. It's a 120 hectare nature reserve. So I was wondering if any one of you has ever had 120 hectares of beautiful primeval forest at your disposal. Did you ever have your private forest? Anyone? I don't see anyone who had their private forest. So yes, it was my privilege to have it for a year. This is a nature reserve within the boundaries of Warsaw. So it's Kwartal in Warsaw. A wild forest surrounded by fence, which is unique in Europe. You don't have this kind of wild nature within the city boundaries, with wild animals, deers, foxes, beavers, etc. Right next to the, within the campus premises. So part of the campus is actually a nature reserve, a Nature 2000 reserve, plus a park coming from the 18th, 19th century. So a historical estate. And it's close to the city center. So it's only 20 minutes away from Warsaw downtown on the metro. And Warsaw, as you may know, is the seat. It is the headquarters for Frontex, so the EU's agency for the border protection. It is based in Warsaw, and many of our students end working for interning or working for Frontex, or, for example, the OSCE's Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights, or in many international companies based in Warsaw or elsewhere. So this is also a very vibrant hub and a major city in this part of Europe. So I will just give you a short introduction to what the campus is all about. As said, this is a beautiful primeval forest, and the 18th century palace. Some of the buildings are from the 19th century. This is the administration building, and a historical Moor bridge in the forest. The palace, as said, from the 18th century. Some of the buildings, so the stables, were readapted to be a library and the language center for the coach house. And this lady here is Natalia Potocka, who died in Ukraine, by the way, in Slavuta. And the whole place, Natolin, was named after a woman, Natalia. You can see the restaurant here, the students relaxing outside of the restaurant, having their meal outside in the park. You can see the full pitch on campus, and the beautiful park you can walk around and ride a bike in. This is one of the oldest oaks in Poland, 400 years old, and the two buildings already saw in the park. As you see, the huge nature reserve behind the palace is 120 hectares of wild forest. And here you can see one of the student residences. So this is the place you will be staying in if you choose to apply to the College of Europe in Natolin. Back to the presentation. A few more photos. Yes, at times the animals from the nature reserve come to the campus, and you can meet deers next to the palace, especially in winter. This is 10 months, very intense program, building very close relations with your friends from across the world, and I can attest to that. We still are in touch with my fellow students from my promotion 6 years ago. And this global network of alumni, as I told you, helps a lot. More than 16,000 people of the college alumni across the world, a very powerful network. And what is important for you in terms of employability? On average, our students get their first job within 3 months of graduation, be it 60% of them, so the majority of them getting the first actual job, full-time job, or 40% getting their first paid internship within 3 months of graduation from the College of Europe in Natolin. So you have a perspective, you have a career ahead of you. Where in the EU institutions and agencies, yes. In the international organizations or diplomacy, yes. But you can see that 1/3 of our alumni also works for the private sector. So companies, consultancies, law firms, some of them work for the academic institutions, research institutions, or think tanks. Some of them work for the national and public administration, regional and public administration in their home countries. Some of them work for the NGOs, both home and international NGOs. So this is a very also diverse body of, or the diverse, let's say, sample of career paths. So we bring people together with many different backgrounds, but also we offer many different career paths depending on what you choose from our offer. So it's very much about yourselves and what you choose to make of our offer at the College of Europe in Natolin. Now, how much? It's 27,000 euros, but I've never met a single Ukrainian student or a single Polish student who paid a single euro for the program, because there are full scholarships for the citizens of Ukraine and citizens of Eastern Partnership countries. And more than 70% of our students are awarded those full scholarships. As said, for Ukraine, I've never ever heard about a case of a Ukrainian student who had to pay for this offer. The offer encompasses the scholarships, full scholarships of the Polish government for Ukrainians, for example, but also scholarships for the ENP country citizens, for which you are also fully eligible. For candidates from all nationalities, so including Ukraine, who have history or related disciplines background. So Ruslan, if I remember correctly, you studied history. So yes, there is a special dedicated history scholarship. The journalism scholarships for those who have either academic or professional or both experience in the topics of media and journalism and communication, and these are also full scholarships if you have background in journalism. So if you are Ukrainian, you can have up to 4 possible sources of funding for studying at the College of Europe in Natolin. 27,000 euros is a full scholarship you can get, and it's covering tuition, full board, so 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, lodging on campus in a single room with cleaning service, language certificates, everything I was talking about is included in that price. Except for Ukrainians, it's a question of medical insurance. So we encourage the non-EU citizens to purchase this tourist insurance for a year. We provide the basic medical insurance at the private clinic, ambulatory services off campus. But for more serious cases, we advise you to purchase the insurance. For example, hospitalization is not covered by our basic package. So all the facilities, meals, study trips are covered from the scholarships you receive. Whom do we admit? As said, all your backgrounds, history, business management, economics, law are okay, as long as you are interested to expand your knowledge in the domain of law and top it up with knowledge of European affairs. So you take your background, your expertise in law, in economics, in history, and then you broaden your perspective. You go beyond that and increase your employability because you are more versatile. You know more about different things, while you can still specialize in history, economics, law, etc. And I'm speaking, I presume that there are only Ukrainians in the room. If there is any person of another nationality, please let me know, because it also has an impact on the scholarships funded, for example, by specific governments or available for specific countries. But we, assuming that we have only Ukrainians in the room, we accept students who hold a university degree which is worth 240 ECTS credits, which for Ukraine means a 4-year bachelor or a master. So you have to have a diploma of a bachelor, 4-year bachelor. This is important, not a 3-year one, just a 4-year bachelor, and or a master's degree. A bachelor is enough already if it's a 4-year bachelor. And one important information, you can already apply in the last year of your studies. To be admitted conditionally, you graduate from your current university in summer and you start with us in September. You have to speak at least B2 English and French A2 B1 by the beginning of the academic year. The good news is that you have a lot of time, because the next possibility to apply to the College of Europe will be in October, and you'll be able to apply for the academic year 2026. Areas of interest: European affairs, European integration, geopolitics, international relations, foreign policy, security, energy studies. Also very diverse background. So in October 2024, we reopened applications for the academic year 2025-26. You have time to create your profile at admissions. You can see the address admissions.coleurope.eu, and you can choose up to 2 study programs in the application. It all happens online. There is no application fee, so you risk nothing. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is that you will not be admitted this year in this selection. But we had people who applied twice, thrice, and they were admitted when we saw that they made progress. So there is no risk. Prepare for the interview, prepare your application, and don't be afraid to apply, I would say. You can, if you speak good English and you're struggling with French, there is a possibility of conditional admission. We closed the applications in mid-January. So the applications for the academic year starting in September this year are closed. So in October, we will reopen until mid-January 2025. And then you would be able, should you be admitted, to start your studies in September 2025. In March to May, the interviews are organized for those who are pre-selected for them. And then the decisions on admissions are taken in May, June. Also the decisions on scholarships. And in August, the introductory courses and the Language Summer Academy start. You will also need 2 recommendation letters from academics, but it also happens online. So you reach out to the professor who was teaching you, ask for his or her permission, and then you share their contact with us. They receive a link via email, and they provide us with the recommendation for you. So a fully online process. Also, the interviews are now taking place online, given that that the Ukrainian community is a bit dispersed due to the war. But before the war, there was a selection committee happening in Kyiv every year. I was participating in one in 2019, and we were selecting Ukrainian candidates at the diplomatic academy of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine at Mikhailivska Ploshcha. Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back to on-site interviews and selecting candidates from Ukraine on-site. So this is the end of the official presentation, and I'm very much open to any questions you may have, and I'm happy to answer and to tell you something more if you have any specific questions. So please don't hesitate, don't be shy. I will now post a small element in the chat. If you wish to stay in touch with us, if you wish to receive a reminder about the opening of applications, about events that we are staging on campus, I'm posting right now a Microsoft form in the chat. You can leave your contact details there. I promise we don't spam. We send up to 4 mailings per year. One of them reminding about the opening, one of them reminding about the deadline for applications. So now to your questions. Dasha, is it possible to get to know the university more directly, open house or something? Dasha, are you in Poland right now? If you are in Poland, there is an open day in the spring. So we'll publish officially the announcement. But if you follow us on social media, you can see at the bottom of the slide our Instagram at COE Natolin. So this is our Instagram handle, COE Natolin. I'm posting it again. We will publish an announcement there about the open day. So if you are in Poland, you are more than welcome to be there. Do I need to take any additional entrance exams? No, Ruslan. You prepare your application, think carefully, work on it, collect the evidence of your extracurricular activities, professional activities, your publications maybe, work on the application, write a very good motivation letter. What I mean by good is explain to us where do you come from in terms of scientific interest, what do you need from the college, so which elements of the offer are of interest to you. Give us the evidence that you actually know our offer. Go to the website, check our list of courses, etc., etc. And tell us in the motivation letter as well, what would you like to do after the college? So where do you come from? Which elements do you need from our offer, and where they are supposed to take you? There is this application stage. If you're pre-selected, there is the interview. And the interview will check your basic knowledge of European affairs. Of course, we will not be asking a lawyer the question on economics, but we will actually refer to what you wrote in your CV. We will require basic knowledge of the EU institutions. So I don't know the difference between the Council of the European Union and the European Council, because it's not the same thing. So you have to know the institutional structure of the EU. You have to know the recent developments in the relations of the EU with your country, for example. Plus, you may expect the questions related to your research, your master thesis topic. So we will try to see if you are good at what you were supposed to be good at because you studied it, for example. So you may expect questions related to European history, for example, Ruslan. So this is the interview, and interview is about motivation, discussing the motivation, checking the basic EU knowledge, checking the languages, because you will be answering the questions in those languages, and checking if you are good in the fields you are supposed to be good at because you studied them. Where most of our foreign students come from, it's 50-50 actually. The majority, slight majority, comes from the Western Europe, so the EU, but I would say even 40% come from the so-called neighborhood of the European Union, so the southern neighborhood and the eastern neighborhood. So it's a very diverse student body. A big group of French students, Polish students, Italians, Germans, Spaniards, Ukrainians are also among a very well-represented group, I would say, every year. And smaller states across the European Union, Portugal, Czechia, Baltic states, Italy is also very much represented, as I said. So a very, very diverse student body, 35 nationalities this year. So predominantly Europe and its neighborhoods, to answer your question. The average age of a student at the College of Europe in Natolin is 26, but there is no upper limit. So for example, I came to the college after 8 years of professional career. So I decided to change my career, and I applied to the College of Europe at the age of 33. So there is no upper limit as long as you can explain convincingly why you need the offer of the College of Europe in Natolin. And the lowest age or the lowest academic level for Ukrainians is this 4-year bachelor. So 4-year bachelor is the minimum diploma you have to start studying at the College of Europe. As said, you can already apply in your last course, in your last year of studies. What documents must be prepared to apply for a scholarship from the College of Europe? Nata. So a scholarship, the Polish government scholarship are offered, are assigned based on the assessment of the application. So on the quality of application if the motivation letter is convincing, concise, well-structured, detailed. If you have good marks, if you have a record of extracurricular activities, it's all taken into account, plus your performance in the interview when you are selected for the interview. And if you perform well in the selection process, you are automatically eligible as a Ukrainian for the scholarship of the Polish government, for the ENP scholarship, for example. There is a separate motivation letter in the application form if you wish to be considered for the history scholarship. And for journalists, we take into account also what we see in the curriculum and in the motivation letter. So either a person studied journalism or he or she has a record of professional experience in the media. Mikolai, we have postgraduate programs. So it's an advanced Master of Arts. So you can start the program at the College of Europe in Natolin if you already hold a bachelor. So in that sense, it's a master's program. If you already hold a master in Ukraine, you can have this advanced master because it's something more. It's actually a Belgian degree because it's issued by the legal entity in Belgium. And it's something more than a master and something less than a PhD. How important, Olha, it is to know Polish for life outside the campus. Does the university have Polish language courses? Yes, we offer crash courses of Polish. I think as a Ukrainian, you will be able to at least understand what people are talking to you. There is a possibility to select Polish for foreigners as a language you will be studying at the college, as one of the languages you will be studying at the college. If you are stubborn enough, you don't really have to leave the campus because the shop is right around the corner and everything else is provided for you. And during the study trips, you are taken care of by the staff. But you also have your Polish colleagues on campus who can take you out downtown. And people, it's a very diverse, I would say, city. When I'm talking about Warsaw right now, it's a diverse city with a number of expats. So a number of people speak English, and we also have a huge population of Ukrainians following the war, both the old emigration, economic immigrants, and we have the refugees as well here in Warsaw. So a lot of people speak Ukrainian and Russian as well, because we have a number of Belarusians here as well. So so you can get by in terms of languages. Don't worry about that. Are there sports clubs at the university? You have to look for them on the side, Bogdana. There are, let's say, sports activities organized by the students and for the students within the social committee. But if you wish to train professionally, you can find a club in Warsaw and then do it on your own. There is a student affairs office, and they will be happy to assist you and to inform you. There is a small gym and a small sauna on campus, and the and the football pitch. For other sports, we have the tennis courts around. So there is a wide range of possibilities, and the administration of the college is helping you to get around. Where do students find internships after graduating from university today? Some of them in the European Commission. I was watching the reels on Instagram by Ursula von der Leyen, and I was happy to see Vasil and Volodymyr, our students from 2 years ago, shaking hands with Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission. So they can work, they can get the internship, the Blue Book internship in the European Commission, for example, the internship in the European Parliament, in Frontex in Warsaw, or in business. We have Google in Warsaw, we have Citibank. So there is a wide choice of different career paths. So it's hard to answer briefly, but I just gave you the broader perspective on that. Where do you recommend to nostrify the necessary documents for admission? There is no need to nostrify the documents, Julia. It's fine to upload the originals of your documents in Ukrainian and translate them into English, but we have people reading documents who are Ukrainians in our team, so you can simply attach the original of the document. Does the College of Europe have special offer for students from Ukraine in 2024? For the main program, I'm afraid not, because the applications are closed and it's a hard deadline, so you cannot reopen them. But there is the Warsaw Euro-Atlantic Summer Academy. I'm just typing in the address for Polina, visa.org. And it's a summer school. For 2 weeks, you can come here and hear from experts about the topics related to security, digital transition, etc., etc., in the transatlantic dimension. So this is something you could benefit from, not being a full-time student also this year in the summer. What activities take place between academic semesters? So there is, Andriy, there is a winter break. So you are free to travel home. You're free to stay with your friends elsewhere. So there's a winter break between, let's say, the Western Christmas and the Eastern Christmas. So 21st, 22nd, usually every year, till December till the 7th of January. And this is a free time for the students to reload their batteries after a very intense exam session and come back on the 8th of January back to studies. Is it necessary to issue a student visa before the start of studies, or it can be issued already at the moment of enrollment? So if you are admitted, Tatiana, to the College of Europe, we are here for you, and we guide you through the entire process of visa application, so you don't have to worry about that. If you are admitted, you receive a scholarship, we will send you the necessary documents, and should there be a problem with making the appointment at the consulate, we have a working contact at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and we will be able to help you to make the appointment. So Christina, what is the difference between studying at the College of Europe branch in Natolin and in Bruges? Well, Bruges is more specialized. Here, so you have a legal program, economics program, let's say international relations program. In Natolin, you get a more interdisciplinary perspective. So you still get the same content as in Bruges, but from an interdisciplinary and problem-based approach. So I would say we focus on the topic of migration from the economic perspective, from the legal perspective, from the perspective of international relations, history, etc., which gives you a problem-based knowledge, not bound to specific disciplines. So the interdisciplinary approach, I would say, is the key difference. And the two campuses, in that sense, are complementary. So here at Natolin, we focus very much on the questions of enlargement, of EU relations with its neighbors, and this dimension of the European policies, the external and internal dimensions of those policies. Bruges is more about sectoral, let's say, focus. Until what time the campus pass in Warsaw is valid? Is it possible to bring people who are not students into the territory? Every student, until what time the campus pass is valid? Until you are a student. You stop to be a student, your campus pass is not valid. However, you can make an appointment, write to the administration and request a permission to enter the premises, and then it's a one-time way to access the campus. There are also regular tours organized every week. There's a website for those of you staying in Poland, zwiedzajnatolin.pl, and you can simply come and have a guided tour in Polish, but a guided tour of the premises, historical premises, with a guide. There is also an open day specifically for the students, for potential students, for potential candidates, and then the campus is open. And also the current students have the right to invite guests to the campus. So there is a lot of possibilities to access the campus. Mariana, I hope it answered your question. How much does it cost to stay in Warsaw today? Warsaw is more expensive, but as said, you are fully covered. You get your accommodation on campus. You don't pay anything for that. You're a single room with bathroom and 3 meals a day, also for free, covered by the scholarship. So you don't really have to spend a lot of money in that sense. When does the academic year start end? So the academic year, Tatiana, starts in September, early September, and ends towards the end of June. The holidays, as said, the winter break is between 22nd, roughly, of December. It changes a little bit every year, but the academic calendar is published on the website. And you come back after, let's say, Easter and Christmas. Is it possible to talk to someone in the student community about activities on campus? Can you send contacts? Alexander, I cannot share the contacts because of the GDPR, so the regulation of the European Parliament on personal data, but there are groups on Facebook, College of Europe in Natolin, so candidates to the College of Europe, there's the Alumni Association of the College of Europe in Ukraine, so you can reach out to them using Google, and they will be able to assist you. I am happy also to maybe share a contact with to an alumna from Ukraine who is our employee from my promotion, who will be able to discuss a bit more with you what are the activities, Alexander. And if you have questions, as said, contact Natolin at colleurope.eu, and we'll be able to follow up on your request and maybe put you in touch with current students from Ukraine, and I'm sure they will be happy to be in touch with you. So so just send us an email and we'll try to put you in touch with them directly. Is it necessary to have a related major in the bachelor's degree to enroll with you? Related, as said, it can be very broad, as long as you wish to continue your career in the European affairs. It's fine. You can be a biotechnological engineer. We had a very successful student a few years ago who graduated from biotechnology, and he wrote his thesis with us about the EU's policy on genetically modified organisms. So he combined with this biotechnological knowledge with the EU policy. So it's possible. So there is no right, correct major in your previous studies, as long as you can convincingly connect it with European affairs. You have an idea of what you want to do with European affairs in relation to your previous background. Does the College of Europe offer distance learning, Vlad? No. The program is on-site only, and I realize that this is also a problem of leaving Ukraine for men at this stage. But I encourage you to apply because the situation may change, and we try to assist our students to reach the campus and start studying. Nastya, what are the most common reasons for exclusion, non-admission to the College of Europe? I would say it's not an exclusion-oriented interview. It's about understanding where you come from. Do you have a clear vision of what you want to get from us? Do you know what institution you're applying to? You know our offer. You know what we can and we cannot give you. And you have a very conscious idea of what you want to make of it. So I would say, look at our offer, at our website, list of courses when writing the motivation letter. Be precise in the motivation letter. Don't go for, yes, I love the European Union, I would like to work in diplomacy. Fine. What field of diplomacy? Which sector? How is the college supposed to help you with it? You are maybe interested in energy issues. Write about it. Select the courses from our curriculum that are of interest to you related to energy. be specific. I would like to work for a Ukrainian energy company, sorry. So try to think before writing your motivation letter. Try to make it concise. Do not use ChatGPT, because we can tell immediately. We can tell that this is a ChatGPT production, even without specialized apps. The way it's written, you can really tell that it's not a person writing it. So try to work properly on your motivation letter. Try to complete all the documents, attach the diploma, the transcript of records with your marks. Try to document your activities, your professional experience, your participation in conferences, etc., publications if you have any. And try to be prepared when it comes to the functioning of the European institutions. So the basic information to be found on their websites. There is a broad section informing how the EU works. So know the basics, know the recent developments in the EU-Ukraine relations, what happened, why, and be prepared in what you are supposed to be good at. That would be my advice. And the idea is to get to know you better and see if you are good enough already, or maybe you need some more time to prepare, not to struggle if you are admitted to the college. So we are not there to exclude you. We are here to understand if this is a good place for you and if you are already ready to study without pressure and without struggling. So don't treat it as an exam and an exclusion policy. Does the College of Europe provide a student card for discounts on transport? No. However, you can get an IC card, and this is issued to the College of Europe students. Do the programs of the College of Europe involve business trips to the EU countries and institutions? Yes, there are study trips to EU countries such as the Baltic states or the EU institutions in Brussels, Luxembourg, and Frankfurt sometimes. Mariana, you're welcome. Helena, немає за що. Yaroslav, tell me, are your study trips paid separately? They are all included in the costs of training, in the tuition fee, and the tuition fee is covered by the scholarship. So for Ukrainians, I never met a case that a Ukrainian would study at Natolin without a full scholarship, and the study trips are included in those scholarships. Christina, Tatiana, Diaka, немає за що. Hello, I'm interested in EU law, Maria. Does it matter that I have a master's degree in the specialty from Ukrainian university? Can I study with you? Yes, you can. Actually, what we are offering is a postgraduate program. So we accept people also with a master's degree because we offer an advanced master, so a Belgian degree there. So I hope that answers your question, Maria. Yes, you can study. Yes, you are fully eligible to apply. Please give it a shot when we reopen applications in October. Андрій, Миколай, я вам також щиро дякую. Якщо у вас є ще інші до мене запитання, ще раз напишу contact Natolin Call Europe EU в чаті. If you want to leave your contact details, you can leave them via this Microsoft Forms. We will be in touch with you. We will be receiving 4 newsletters per year. So no spam every week, just 4 mailings per year, reminding you about the opening of applications and the possibility of studying at the College of Europe. Чи ще є якісь запитання до мене? Якщо нема, я б хотів вам щиро подякувати, що ви приєдналися до мене сьогодні. І сказати вам, що коледж Європи Натоліні є відкритий, завжди був відкритий для українців і пропонує повні стипендії кожного року. Тобто запрошуємо.